Guys, we are back with the S-10, and it is absolutely down to the wire. We are trying to make it an LS Fest, doing everything we possibly can, and hopefully we can get this thing cranked up here. We're going to do our best and see what we can do here. So let's see what we got done. This is really, really crazy. The guys put in a lot of hours in order to try and get this done. So check this out. Boom! She is pretty crazy looking there. All right, so Laz, we have a lot of compromises that we've done in order to get this thing just runnable. It's not necessarily the final by any means. There's so many things that we want to do still, but fill us in on some of those right there.
PCV system, oil drains, lack of cooling,
yeah,
wires just bundled up.
No water pump, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff just to kind of throw it together and get it fired up so we can, you know, show people what it's going to be like when it's all done.
Yeah. We got no alternator or anything like that. Obviously, we don't have a radiator final mounted or anything. So we had a different idea of what we wanted to do with a bunch of different things. But I mean, like, you guys stayed really, really late as I was trying to finish up some other junk to get a car done and out of here. But man, made some major steps right here.
Yeah. It's just tack loaded up, just for us to fire it up. The oil drains, we have them going back into the huge PCV vents and the valve covers. Just because it's quick and easy, we didn't have time to pull the oil pan back off and weld bungs onto it, much less fitting bungs and all the running around you have to do just to get those little pieces that you need. Oh, what else is there, Jeremy?
So obviously we don't have our methanol on or anything like that. We haven't even primed the system. We don't know if we have any fuel leaks. We got just tons and tons and tons of things. This is not the intake manifold that we're going to want a final run. In a moment here, we're going to have to steal my wife's mass airflow in order to get this thing fired up. We don't have any of our gates are on or anything, and actually, George just got done. You got them in your hand or no?
Yeah.
George just got done putting some caps in there, so we're not going to run any wastegate. So it'll make what it makes if it makes any boost. So we'll see.
All the boost.
All the boost. So we got no pedals or anything like that at all, but everything is just crankable enough. We hope so. All right. So newbie fab guy messed this up real quick for Josh. So we had cut this while he was gone, and it turns out that it's not the right size or anything like that. It's close, but it's not quite good. See, mine is off-center, as we can see, and Josh's is perfectly there. So.
Perfectly straight.
Yeah. Learning, yeah. Patient with me here. So I can't wait to hear this thing blow off and actually build some boost. It's going to be a freaking blast. We got a lot of plans for a hood and other things, but again, we're just absolutely down to the wire. Guys, we've done... When did we start this? I think we started this on like August 3rd or something. So given a couple holidays, given weekends, and even we worked a number of, at least one day during the week, weekend days, we've made some amazing progress with this thing. And it's not like we just did heads and cam on a regular car. There were so many unforeseen issues, so much like custom fab. It's been I want to say it's been a nightmare, but it hasn't. It's been a hell of a lot of fun.
It's just been a marathon.
Yeah, it's been a marathon. So
It's a learning experience.
Absolutely.
Frame off restoration.
Yeah. And I mean, guys, this started off kind of like we wanted to keep it pretty tight, and things got a little bit out of control. This is not the cheapest way to do this by any means, but the more we got into this, we were like, man, we can't compromise on that. There's a lot of things we did compromise on, most certainly, and eventually I'm going to tackle all of, one route versus the route we chose and why we chose it. But guys, we're trying to build pretty much a poor man's Hoonigan truck, and I think we're well on our way. So we want to be able to give the ammo to the GM guys and be like, hey man, build this. Let's go out there and go slaughter some GTRs and some super high-end race cars.
Kind of like the LT4 Escalade that is apparently coming.
Oh, yeah. Actually, an all-wheel drive LT4 Escalade would be a freaking street killer.
I'm trying to get you to get an all-wheel drive.
No.
Come on.
Did you show them your custom starter button in here?
I didn't yet. I didn't even know I had one yet.
Ah.
Oh, look at that!
Key on.
Ding, ding. Man, it just somebody just opened something. I thought that was a fuel pump priming for a second. Yeah. That's running a couple self tappers in there and all that stuff. Here, I'll be outside of the truck. Just mash her down. Yeah. Got to weld that up so we don't have an exhaust leak. We'll be able to build a little bit of little spoolage.
Is that a word?
Spoolage.
Spoolage?
Well, spoilage is, so if spoolage. All right, so a couple of you guys have asked, will we be able to dyno it in two-wheel drive? The answer is a yes, and we'll show you that real quick.
Posi lock. Press it, disengage the front shaft. We have a viscous coupler in the transfer case and an open diff in the front, so that should give us no power to the front end.
That's pretty sharp, man.
Should.
I'm definitely going to need a switch on that if I go from doing a burnout to trying to launch. I'll need something like what Garrett has, like turn intercooler on. You know, even with my Duramax, I've kind of struggled a little bit with launching in two-wheel drive rather than four. So, pretty neat little option though. So freaking sweet in there.
No, they do say that the 4x4 setup with that is weaker, so we're just going to run it till it breaks.
All right, all right.
But we can get it done at first.
So, George was wiring his heart out. We've got all of what he had done, plus a bunch more modifications to the front to get all the wiring harness in there. This right here is for our pedal. So we got to get that guy plugged in, and I actually have to reflash it, and I'll be able to do that right through there, the AWD port.
Hey, one thing we need to do is do a jumper between the trans cooler, because it's just got caps on it, and it'll probably build pressure and blow those caps off.
All right, you know you're getting close when you're putting some fuel in a car that's never had fuel before. That's going to be freaking awesome. That's a big feeling right there. So Josh, I see just welded up the mounts right there. That was pretty freaking sweet, amongst many, many other things.
Mounts to the meth tank.
Yep. All right, so guys, what we're doing is we are blending our fuel. We wanted to just run like a 50-50. So this one is not methanol. This is actually, I think this one's the E85. Is that right? It smells like it.
It looks like it.
You can always, yeah, it's the E right there. The methanol, which I thought for a moment there we put methanol or put E85 in the methanol tank, but dunk your finger in it, blow on it. It's really, really cold, like an alcohol. And the E85 you can tell as well from pump gas. Yeah, definitely evaporates really, really fast. So we're putting roughly about a 50-50 mix in there just for starters, just trying to shake everything down. That's our return line right there. We got our set of fuel pressure there, Laz. That'll be something interesting with those two fuel pumps running. We might have like 100 pounds sitting there.
You're gonna start off at like 70?
Yeah, I want to run about 70 pounds of fuel pressure. And Liz, you just finished up. Okay, so actually Ben mounted we got that in I think the other day. Ben mounted the battery tray, and you just took off all the stuff, and she looks pretty darn sweet. All right, so just to make it to LS Fest, we're going to do a temporary mount right here. So we're just going to put in two self-tappers. Normally we'd have a bolt in there, but this is, again, not going to be even really runnable. Just crankable. Josh is grabbing the meth tank. He welded the ears on here. Unfortunately, we're just out of time. We can't get everything that we needed to get done, but that's kind of the plan. We need to get, was it a cap, and we need a couple other...
Cap, the bottom for the feed, and some stainless shoulder nuts to weld on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we tackled all the wiring of the methanol yet, but
No.
but again, that's the plan. Freaking love. I'm a big methanol fan. We're running a CTSV spec battery. She's a big girl, 910 cranking amps. Just want to be able to run a lot of load on this thing, not have any sort of problem, not have to worry about it, and they've traditionally been really, really good for us. It's the first drive. Dude, that rolls way easier than I thought it would, to be honest.
Because I had a salad for lunch.
Les, your fat jokes have gone like way up a whole nother level.
This is a SEMA show truck compromise.
Yeah.
This is our tranny cooler.
The BTUs that it sheds there are incredible.
So we'll have a nice visual for everybody of the nice LOJ adapter.
Front and center.
And the 6060 attached to the Trailblazer transfer case.
She is a looker.
No floorboard here to obstruct views.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much got our own cutaway right here.
GM does it, so why don't we?
Jeremy,
Hey.
what the hell are you doing?
Put your pants leg up.
You told me to look sexy.
I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No. I don't even know what to say to you. You're gonna.
I don't want to do a little roll like we did on the Caprice and like permanently dent the hood.
That's still dented.
Yeah, it is.
It was worth it though. That was a great intro. Liam, come over here and tell us what you think about this.
I think this thing's gonna be loud.
It is going to be loud. I would like to see your mullet. Why are you making a face?
I'm staring off to the distance.
Are you going to show everybody how dirty my truck is?
Yeah.
Our detailer left, and it's sad. We miss you, Larry. Come back.
It's a bit dirty underneath here, so don't mind the duct tape here. So I'm going to pull this mass airflow
Hold
off.
on. I want to point out Jeremy has still not fixed the duct tape.
Yeah.
If anybody's been watching for a while, you know how long that's been there, and you have not fixed it.
Well, it's kind of like the shoemaker's children go shoeless. That's really the way that it works,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And this needs a little attention, so we're going to give it a little attention.
There's this guy Josh. Who could probably build you a colder.
Probably. All right, so if you guys are new to the channel, you have to check out some of these old episodes with this. We call this thing the Porcopotamus. And yes, this is my wife's daily driver. And believe it or not, this big fat pig with an LT4 blower on there will pull the wheels. Now, it might pull the wheels and it might hurt itself, but you guys have to check out the video. It's worth the watch. So in order for us to fire this, if we're going to fire this at LS Fest, if you guys are going to make it out there, we're going to have to steal this mass airflow every time we start it up. Let's get this guy out of there.
I'm too short to film you.
Do you have the cutest face ever?
Here.
Oh, you wanted me to film you? Not this pretty little man?
All right, so yeah, that mass air right there, we're going to have to clearance that very, very quickly here. All right, so we'll stuff some rags down in there and let's get that guy.
Holy moly. What in the? Lot of horsepower in there.
Is it really? Oh, look.
What do you know?
That was my best horsepower.
Oh, good.
I love that sound. It's one of my favorite sounds, Rich. It's the worst sound in the world. All right, so one thing that's very important for a boosted vehicle is putting the beads around the intake pipes. Anything that's getting pressure is the only one that we don't have yet. And if you are not a welder, there is a little trick that I learned a while back from a dude that had been doing this for a long time on boosted cars. So we did put beads on pretty much everything else except for that one. All right, so neat little trick here if you guys are not a welder, don't have a fabricator nearby, is just like Laz is doing it right there. Pretty sweet little trick, man. It really does work. So this is typically what you would use for doing some butt connecting, and as you press that in, you're making a bead just like that. Our evap is wide open. We are not going to have anything. Once that is powered up, then that goes through, but when it's not powered, it is solid. Oh, we got a power. All right. Awesome. Okay, so hold up.
That shouldn't have happened. George, I need you to check your relay, buddy.
Well, we don't have a drive shaft, so I asked Laz, can we select what gear it is? And he's like, oh, well, you don't get a drive shaft anyway. Oh, yeah, that's right. Not going to matter. Not used to having a car without a drive shaft, so you always want to make sure you throw it in gear and so on and so forth. So guys, this last month we gave away 2 MPVI2s from HB Tuners. This is a software that I use day in and day out. It is definitely the best for tuning OEM stuff. And guys, we're Team OEM. Also, remember, Team Underdog here. This right here, we're going to be able to do some amazing stuff. Pretty much that should be able to rival what you can do with some aftermarket engine management.
What's your password, Jeremy?
Yeah, in momentary, momentary passing ground.
I can't tell you how many times in a day you look at me like that.
That's the truth.
Hey, where's your Motion Raceworks computer pad so you don't scratch your...
Oh, yeah,
paint
I
up?
wouldn't want to ruin
You
the
don't
paint
wanna-
there, yeah. Got my handy dandy Motion Raceworks
Notebook.
Oh, yeah.
Blue's Clues, you know.
Well, look at that.
Mom life.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Mom life.
Woo!
Yeah. So an interesting thing early on with the LT swap business here, people thought that you couldn't run this without the fuel pump control module. Well, you don't have to have a fuel pump control module. That's a separate computer. We're not going to be doing that. We're just running a typical, you know, well, just a typical pump, nothing that has a computer to drive it. We can go in here and I just shut that off. Now, I do have some other questions myself. We're not going to run a top speed limiter or anything like that. Our fan settings, we don't have a fan setup yet. We got to figure out how to do that exactly. We're going to run that off a thermostatic switch. This thing is pretty much going to be a race vehicle with which we might try and run on the street. So on that note, there's a lot of things that you can turn off. Say, for example, pretty much on any LS vehicle, any LT vehicle, if you have a camshaft in there, you need to shut off misfires. That's a super common thing that I see a lot when people tune some stuff.
They keep almost electrocuting themselves, sorry.
Hey!
Just testing switches.
All right, this thing is a hodgepodge of an LT. This is very much likens what you can do with an LS on our build, so we opted for the 5.3 junkyard motor. If this thing was an unlimited budget, we would have gotten maybe a Forge 6.2 or something bigger.
I know where there's a Forge 6.2.
I do too.
It's in my car. Sorry about that.
Just do a little
Swapperoo. Can I have the twin turbos?
No. Okay, so one of the biggest things that you have to do anytime you're doing an engine swap is delete the VATS. That's a vehicle anti-theft system. So I have to do that. I've deleted a whole bunch of other codes that have to do with startup. We don't have a clutch pedal switch, so that has to be deleted as well. I've done that. I don't know if this thing's going to fire yet. This is a much different bird than an LS. I've done a whole bunch of these, but again, you never know what you're up against.
They're coming on.
Oh, sweet! So we got fuel in the
Check
line.
for leaks.
That's a good sign. Oh yeah. Dude, those sound good.
They're quiet. Really
Yeah, they're
quiet.
quiet. Oh, I like it. You know, I'm not a big fan of a big, stinky, loud fuel pump. It's like, oh, man, it's annoying fast.
What kind of noise does it make?
You heard me. All right. Actually, one moment here, sir. I'm actually going to set the fuel pressure. It was at 40. Try it again, real quick.
Well, we're priming up to max.
That's 60 right there. I don't see a leak right now, though. The fuel pressure is dropping very briefly, though.
If you'd like for me to access that, I can remove the fire.
Oh, yeah. Pretty sweet. I did not know that creepy hand was going to be touching mine. You like really creepily touched my fingers like that. Okay, so what we're doing is we've actually got my old processor out of my 15 Z06 that was the first in the 9s in the world. So this is the OG processor right here. If you want to try and fire it,
Let's spin it over for like a few seconds with
yeah,
the computer off.
that's a good idea. Also, one other thing that we wanted to say is that this is not permanent. This is just for a short-term run. We're going to have to reroute our dumps. We might go straight into these gorgeous ICT valve covers, even though I'm just very reluctant to do that because they're so darn pretty. Let's try and get a test and see if it'll fire on coolant temperature looks good, intake air temperature looks good, map sensor is wrong because we don't have a flash in there yet. But yeah, go for it. Go ahead, let me see if I got an RPM reading. I got no injector yet. We have a fire extinguisher just in case. Actually, yeah, there's one over there. All right, so. Oh, come on! I got a starter on. Did you? Yeah. It's got giant injector pulse, so something's a little bit wonky with that. Oh, working! So we can't run it very long. We don't have any coolant in it or anything like that. Give her a little throttle there. All right. Hey, let's kill it and then we'll check everything again. All right, that's freaking awesome. Oh, look at this turbo scoring.
They stop at the same time.
Did they?
Couldn't hear one exhaust leak.
I can't even believe we got like, so we got all our, okay, so we got a little oil drip. That's all right. That's all right. It's still good. So one of the big things is really early on when I was learning about it, doing a bunch of turbo stuff, is that's really small and we want zero restriction. So I mean, that's a fantastic idea, going from that 3 to 3.5 inch, just to help that thing, you know, unconstipate. Zero back pressure there.
Dude, it sounds so good.
The injector base pulse was so high. I was like, what the heck? I was like, something's got to be wrong. It took forever for it to get through that, but no, once it fired, I mean, everything looks really, really good. This is pretty much a tune that I had modeled after like a heads cam, you know, Z06. Yeah, our E85 sensor's working, so we're at 70, 72, 75. We still got, what, maybe like
12-hour drive?
or more. But of those 30 some odd things that we had checked out the other day, we got probably, what, like 25 left or something like that?
I went through the list and I was like, man, I'm not crossing off enough items. That's 3 pages.
Hey, look, oil. We got that one. Check. That's an easy one, though. Man. But, man, major stuff. Dude, I'm seriously so proud of you guys. I didn't think it was going to happen at some point. I mean, the other night I was like, oh, my gosh, man. I was like, I don't know. I hope to see you at LS Fest. Please, if you can make it out, you got to check out my dog Norman, too. Come check out this thing.
Jericho's going to be there, too.
Jericho? All right. Jericho's not
Jericho's better. Jericho's better.
Watch it now. Watch it now.
He's old school. OG.
Dude, all the sensors, all the freaking wiring harness, everything. I mean, I can't believe it went like that. That's, hallelujah. That is awesome. Leon, did you hear that?
Yes. It sounded sick. Best sounding truck I've ever heard.
Thanks.
Best sounding truck
Thanks.
he's ever heard.
He's a truck guy. You know?
He is.
How about that symmetry? We got a lot of people like, hey, you should run the symmetrical turbos. Hey, if Nelson wanted to send me some free turbos, I'm all in. But this puppy is gorgeous.
This dog will hunt.
This dog will hunt. All right, so once it starts to fire, just give it some throttle there, and then.
Definitely didn't take anything too far.
Oh, yeah. Hell yes, dude. That is so
Dude,
sick.
it sounds mean.
I love that fireball.
Here outside.
Oh my gosh.
That is loud.
Driver's side got like one more rotation than the passenger side.
Oh, did it? That is so freaking sick, man. Guys, I cannot believe this was even done. These guys knocked it out of the park. Thank you guys so much. This is freaking... This is a major dream come true. I don't even know what to say.
Thanks for watching.
Guys, thanks so much. Hope to see you at LS Fest. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. See you next episode.